Persia is the topic today, and today we're going to be talking about the Persian Empire, especially comparing and contrasting it to the Assyrian Empire. And that's going to be one of your possible essay questions, is comparing these two. And these two empires are going to go and rule and be ruled very, very differently. So let's get started. So the Persian Empire is going to start off in the modern country of Iran. So it's a little bit to the east of Iraq, which is where the Assyrians essentially start from. The Persian Empire is huge. It's going to be the world's, arguably one of the world's most efficient run empires. The modern-day countries that it covers, Iraq, Afghanistan, Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, all of those were part of the Persian Empire. In terms of population in the world, at this time, 45%, half the world, lived within the Persian Empire if you were alive at that time. There's never been an empire this large, so it's absolutely huge. So first we'll talk about King Cyrus, and he's the first Persian king that you need to know about. He ruled for about 30 years, and he kicked some major butt in battles. Basically, it says that every battle that he fought, that was a major campaign, he was going to win. So he's going to go and take on 3 different civilizations, so we'll talk about the first one here, the Medes. The Medes were basically in control of the Persians at the beginning of Cyrus's career. And Cyrus is going to go and encourage the people to go overthrow these Medes who are in control of them. And he does. They go, and he encourages all the Persians to go kick some butt, and they do. And they defeat the Medes, and Cyrus is going to go take the title King of Persia. After that, he's going to go to the good old Lydians. And this should sound familiar. The Lydians should be a civilization that you know, because we talked about it before with King Croesus and the invention of the coinage system. Now, this is actually at the same time as King Croesus, and one of the most famous stories is that King Croesus went to an oracle to go and find out, should he attack the Persians? And the oracle says, if you attack the Persians, a great civilization will be destroyed, a great empire. And Croesus takes this as, all right, I'm going to defeat them. What he doesn't know is the oracle supposedly was telling him that his own empire would crumble. One of the famous stories as well as Cyrus fighting Croesus is Cyrus put a bunch of camels in front of his troops, knowing that the Lydian horses would be spooked. And the smell of camels spooks the horses, and he goes and kicks a major butt. And then finally, the third civilization is that he's going to go conquer are the Neo-Babylonians. These people come obviously after Hammurabi. And basically one of the famous battles there is that Cyrus is going to divert the Euphrates River overnight, which basically goes and allows them to do a sneak attack and defeat the Babylonians. And then from there, Cyrus is going to proclaim himself king of Babylon, of Sumer and Akkad, king of 4 corners of the world on his famous Cyrus cylinder. In addition, we see Cyrus praising the god Marduk, who was the traditional Babylonian god. What this does is what this allows him to do, is basically show respect for the local people, which would be a big theme of the Persians. Now, what do the Jewish people think of Cyrus? The Jewish people, they go and if they see Cyrus, you want to think, love, love, love. They love Cyrus. Why? Well, if you remember, the Babylonians, these dudes took control of the southern part of the Hebrew kingdoms, and they deported them. And that was called the Babylonian exile. Cyrus goes and allows the Jews to come back home and build what's pictured here below the heart that I just drew, the Second Temple of Jerusalem, which is the center of Jewish life. By the way, this gets destroyed by the Romans later. Not good. But this is going to go and provide a huge, huge boost to the Jews. They were able to go back home. So if you read in the Old Testament, they actually love Cyrus. It's kind of equivalent. Think about like the Catholic Church. If the Vatican got destroyed and the Pope was killed, think about rebuilding a new Vatican. It would be a very, very significant and symbolic event. The temple is the heart of Judaism. It's where God physically dwells. At this time, too, obviously, after the Babylonians came, we don't have the Ark of the Covenant anymore, the 10 Commandments. There's the manna in there. But it's still a huge center. People go on pilgrimages there. It's a market. There's tour guides. People offer sacrifices to animals. Very, very important. So here are some of the civilizations that they conquer. Like I said, they're going to conquer the Lydians, and then this extent, these are the Medes, and then they call it the Chaldeans, but these are the Babylonians. You can see the Fertile Crescent shape. This is the tomb of Cyrus, which doesn't look too blinged out today, but back in the day it was, he was buried in a gold coffin. Here's a shot of it today at nighttime. And then this is what it would look like back in the glory days. So it was like fountain with like trees and courtyard, but obviously you can't see it like that today. This is a letter from Cyrus to the Jews. You can pause it here and zoom in if you want. And it just shows, this is a primary source, saying to the Jews, you get to come back home, you get to go build your temple. Why would Cyrus do this? This goes into the whole Persian method of ruling, which says if you're going to be in control of someone, you want them to like you. And in addition to this, they share the common thread of monotheism, which I'll talk about here with Zoroastrianism. Here's a picture of the Second Temple at its extent. I have a few more pictures for you as well. It's actually a scale model that somebody built. And another look at it as well. You can pause. So at this point, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. So the question is, how are you going to run your empire? And that takes us to Darius. Now, Darius is known as a very, very effective administrator. He's going to be He's going to be the type of guy that's going to go and rule the empire and set up the form of ruling an empire, which is very effective. This is basically organizing it into what we call satrapies, which are local forms of government, where you basically have a Persian person in charge, but who's in charge of the day-to-day is really a local ruler. And by having a local person in charge, you're going to go and create local support, because it doesn't look like the Persian Empire is in charge, even though everybody knows they are, but it's not going to cause the type of resentment and bitterness that you would have, obviously, with somebody like the Assyrians, who just go and kill everybody and make you hate your life. The analogies I use are kind of cheesy, but the idea of like mist. It was like a morning mist. You knew the Persians were in control, but it wasn't oppressive. They also ruled with the principle of an iron fist, but in a velvet glove. Iron fist implying they were super strong, and you know they meant business, and they would suppress any rebellions if it came to that. But they ruled with a velvet glove. They respected local tradition. And local autonomy means basically they had local self-rule. Autonomy means the people who are in charge in the area, they're the people want. They are the people that the people want. So it's, for example, if you had California controlled by Californians rather than California controlled by people from New Hampshire, it wouldn't make sense. But in the Assyrian model, you have the Assyrians in control of everything, even though they may not live close. So the satrapy model allows local control. So local autonomy or local control. In addition, it gets the idea, which came from the Lydians, of the currency, which is going to be facilitated by the extensive road system, the form of taxes, and this currency is called the Daric, as you can see him pictured there. In addition, he's going to form the capital, which is called Persepolis, which I'll show you a few pictures of. So here's the Gate of All Nations. This is the gate which shows the heads of bearded man with bull bodies, basically, which would be the entrance into the city. It actually has Xerxes' name. If you know Xerxes from 300, his name is written on it. And then here's the palace, which had the grand hall, 72 columns. On top of the columns, they had sculptures of bulls, lions, and eagles. And all over it, it had like floral arrangements, and it said Darius built this, taking a little bit of credit. This is the tomb of King and Kings, where a lot of the Persian rulers were buried as well. Now, in addition, talking about Zoroastrianism, this is the main religion, so we're talking about religion of the Persian Empire. It comes from a teacher called Zoroaster. He's not a god. He's kind of like Abraham. He's somebody who's talked to God. And it's a very dualistic type of religion. And with a dualistic type of religion, you have two sides. And with these two sides, there's a very, very thick line between them. And basically the idea is that good's on one side and evil's on the other. And truth is on one side and lies are on the other side. And you have to, through your thoughts, words, and actions, go and obviously, it's not like a twisted religion, go and choose these things. Choose good, choose truth, and do these, like I said, through your thoughts, words, and actions. Not a bad idea. And at the end of time, you're going to basically go, there's going to be an end of the universe. All of creation, even the people who had died, are basically going to go and be judged. People that are good are going to gain eternal life. All the people that are judged will go to hell, go to darkness. This should sound familiar because this is a similar concept that we see in Christianity. In addition, their word for God, just so you know, is Ahura Mazda. That's their word. It's monotheistic, which, as I said, part of the reason that they got along well with the Jews. Now, this ox's chariot I want to talk here about is actually fits in the size of a palm of a child. You can see it at the British Museum. It's made out of gold, and what it implies here is this guy is a lot smaller than this guy, meaning that this guy is way more important because he's bigger. What's going on? If you look at their clothing, there's actually a lot of stuff going on. Their clothing is actually the clothing of the Medes, meaning they adopted the local customs. In addition, on the front here is basically the Egyptian, a dwarf god, which shows, this is basically what this chariot is a satrap going and checking out his empire. You can tell by the size of these wheels that he's in for a long journey. And it shows the local respect by the fact that they have another society's god here, and that he's wearing these style of clothing. It's a very multicultural society. So there you go, the lovely Persians.